This conference
And
will now be recorded.
all right, very good. All right, so all the lines are muted. If you are not muted, or if you're not sure if you're muted or not, um, either on your phone hit the mute button, or I think you can also do like a *6 or something like that and mute yourself in the GoToMeeting panel. But make sure you're muted if you don't mind, everybody. That'd be great. If you don't know if you are muted or not, please don't eat, use the bathroom, yell at the children, answer the door, answer another call, or talk bad about the call host. Those are all bad things to do. And actually, I'm hearing who. Let's see here. I've muted everybody, but it sounds like maybe everybody's not quite muted. Is somebody walking in from their car? Just so I know who that might be. I don't know. Strange. Hey guys, just make sure everybody's muted. I don't know why. GoToMeeting is showing me that everybody's muted, but clearly somebody's not. So please, everybody, go ahead and mute your lines. I have absolutely no idea why GoToMeeting shows everybody muted, but everybody's not. But anyway, we'll get right into it. Guys, welcome to today's call. Today, obviously, is a beautiful Tuesday, and it is June the 11th, and I'm so glad that you guys are here. I want to, first of all, thank all the existing meeting leaders for joining us, and I want to welcome all of you who are new. If you're a new meeting leader to Networking Today, we are so glad to have you on this call, and just in case anyone has to hop off the call early, there's a lot that's going to happen in the second half of the call today you're not going to want to miss. So I just want to encourage you to come back and take a listen to the recording if you have to jump off today. We just have so much information and really good information to share with everyone today. But just so that everybody is reminded, this call is recorded and we convert it to MP3 so that it's the audio only, and you can listen from the meeting leader resources page, or you can also watch it in the full length video and see the PowerPoint slides as well. But I just want to welcome everyone that is new. So glad that you are among the finest of the finest leaders in all the world right here at Networking Today. On each and every call that we have, I like to talk about servant leadership. Several years ago, I learned about the idea of servant leadership, and shockingly to me, I didn't even know that there was such a place called the Center for Servant Leadership. They define that as a philosophy, and this is where it's important, a set of practices that enriches the lives of individuals, builds better organizations, I like to say better meetings, and ultimately creates a more just and caring world of those around us. And that is the foundation that we're trying to build Networking Today leadership on, so that our leaders have that servant leader spirit. Several calls, and every once in a while, I like to remind everybody that and by the way, I've tried to Google this, and frankly, Google says this is true, at least the page that I ended up on. But according to Google, and according to what they say, on the old-fashioned totem poles, it is said that the leader of a given community, in the Native Indian tribes and the different tribes that use totem poles, that the leader is the image at the bottom. And it said that the leader is the image at the bottom because the leader is the one holding the rest of the community up. And I find that very compelling when I think about leaders at Networking Today and the type of leaders we're trying to cultivate, recruit, encourage, develop, and inspire at Networking Today. And so I hope that applies to each and every one of you. So on our last call, we talked about the characteristic, or putting into practice, joy in your life, or the state of happiness. And we talked about that. And part of what we talked about is, look, here's the thing. We all have problems. We all have issues. And what we talked about when we talked about that is that challenges don't make you, they reveal you. And so make sure that you're the type of leader, and you're the kind of leader that leads with joy. don't be the lead complainer. Don't be the downer in the room. And that can be hard, especially when you're in a role of leadership, because you feel like you have no one that you can go to complain to. Well, call meeting leader support for that. Meeting leader support is there to be that ear that you can complain to, so that when you walk into your meeting, you can be filled with happiness and joy. Now, anyone that's on the call from our meeting leader support team is right now cursing me out. They're cussing me out, saying, Rich, don't have them call me to complain. But listen, it is better that you call meeting leader support than bringing that into your meeting. Today, our word for today is being a driver. What does it mean to be a driver? To be the driver means that you are the one that makes all the decisions. You're deciding everything. You're in control of where you're going. You're making sure of which way you're heading. You control what's on the radio and how loud it is. The driver's seat is the one making all the decisions. Now, in a lot of marriages and a lot of companies today, there's not just one person in charge. But no matter what, I hope when you're driving down the road, there's only one person driving the car. Because otherwise, it can end in chaos if one person wants to go one way and another person wants to go another way, right? When people are driving down the road, there can only be one driver, and that driver determines how slow you drive, how fast you drive, determines which direction you go to get from point A to point B. The driver is in charge of all of that. Now, networking today, we have our guidelines, we have our rules, our policies and things that we live by, and we all have sworn allegiance to, so to speak, here at Networking Today. But I'm asking about you. Does your meeting have your personality? And I guarantee you that it does. No different than your car has your personality. Hopped into a car recently, and the car was a mess. I mean, I am just saying the car was a mess. Well, the driver, the primary driver of the car, generally speaking, is also the owner. They take ownership in that car. What does your meeting say about you? If your meeting was a car, what would it say about you? Is it organized? Is it clean? Is it present? Is it professional? Are you taking risks, unnecessary risks? And sometimes unnecessary risks there's nothing wrong with, but are you a fast driver or a slow driver? Are you relaxed and laid back, or are you tense and, impatient? Are you, what defines you? No matter what it is, you as the meeting leader are the driver. You own that meeting. You own all the results. You own the success, along with obviously everyone in the car with you, but you also own the failures. Now, I was talking to one of my children the other day, and we were talking about their basketball skills, okay? My son was not wanting to own his current skill set. I'm trying to think of diplomatically how to say this. He was wanting to blame someone else. At Networking Today, we're trying to encourage our leadership team to be responsible for what happens in your meeting, and that is part of what being a driver means. Be the driver of your meeting. Be the one responsible for where your meeting's going, whether it's going great or whether it's going not so great and there's room for improvement. You are the one that can make those decisions because you are the driver. That's how we do it at Networking Today. We want you to kind of, drive with, according to our speed limit, so to speak, and drive on the right side of the road and use your turn indicator. We have some general guidelines about driving. After all, who in the world, when the speed limit is 55, actually does 55? Nobody. No one. Okay, maybe I know a couple of people. But my point is, is almost no one does that. They're general guidelines, okay? So all I'm asking you to do is to use our general guidelines, but make your meeting fun, make your meeting your personality, and take responsibility for it. Just a couple of things here that I want to mention before some really big news. I want to remind everyone on the call that we do have a new member orientation. If you are not promoting the new member orientation, this image, the one that is on the slide right now, is in the Meeting Leader Resources page for you to right-click on and download, save it as a JPEG or a PNG or however you want to save it, and promote it to our members so that they know they can come to a new member orientation at Networking Today. Excuse me. If you're locally in the Knoxville market, feel free to come to the meeting in person. If you are outside of the Knoxville market, Terry Mock will work with you to do a Zoom or a GoTo meeting or an online Google Hangouts or whatever is required in order for you to be able to you and your members to participate in that new member orientation. But we want to promote this to all of our members to help get them acclimated to what we're doing at Networking Today. A couple of you have asked and shown interest in having a birthday celebration. NTI Cares is going to be the main charity where we want funds to come in so we can support the charitable efforts of NTI Cares. And so you could do a local event there. I talk all the time about making your meeting about more than just networking. And how do you do that? I should probably say one of the best ways to do that is to include a charity that you're passionate about. Okay, something that can bring emotion into it. And so I highly encourage all of you to get behind a charity. If you don't have a charity, then your birthday celebration could be about NTI Cares, okay? Now, we're having our birthday party toward the end of June. You could have your birthday party anytime between June 15th and the end of the month, but it's when NTI turns 6. And so have a birthday party. Make it about a charity. Do a fundraiser. One of the things we're doing here in Knoxville is we're going to charge $25 a head. We're going to have it at night. Hors d'oeuvres and beverages, adult beverages some will be provided, and then we'll have a cash bar and that sort of thing. But we're going to have a fun time, and we're hoping to donate and raise $2,500 for a local charity here in Knoxville called Volunteer Ministry Center. Okay, and so our team locally here is working very hard at organizing our birthday party, and you guys can do it in your communities as well. And it can run through NTI Cares. It doesn't have to, but if you want it to, it can run through NTI Cares. So I'm encouraging all meetings everywhere to throw a birthday bash for NTI's 6th birthday party. If you want NTI Cares involved or have questions about it, shoot me a text. We'll find a time when we can get on each other's calendar and make sure and discuss the details. But this is meant to be a lot of fun and to bring a greater level of purpose to your meeting more than just business-to-business networking. Just let me know if you have questions, or you could also reach out to Meeting Leader Support at 865-245-9397 or email support at networkingtodayintl.com. That's support at networkingtodayintl.com. All right. And that it goes for all your other questions and things like that as well. All right. The one thing I do want to mention real quick is I know several of you have requested literature. We've had some growing pains with staff, and that has delayed. And I'm just going to put it out there and be very transparent, guys. Some of your orders fell through the cracks. We are aware that some of you need literature, and some of you do not. Some of you don't even know we have literature. I don't know how that got missed, but we have 2 things that we generally promote after your kickoff meeting. That is the visitor host card It's 11 inches tall by 4¼ inches wide, and it's on very nice cardstock. And that is to be used for your visitors that come to your meetings. Those are very expensive. In fact, they cost about 10 times of our guest cards, which are the business card size promotional cards. And you can hand those out a dime a dozen. Doesn't matter. Hand those out as often as you would like to. Those are meant for that purpose. Okay, they're inexpensive. We can get you those at any time. But what we do with the visitor host cards is we ask, we usually have like a point person. Like in Nashville, it's usually Marianne Police. And if the whole Nashville market is out of visitor host cards, we'll order 1,000 and send them. And then Marianne shares, like 100 to each meeting or something like that, or 50 or 60. And usually that covers us for visitors for a while. Now, if you're going to have a visitor day or something like that, you might, tap into that inventory a little bit more, and Marianne can give more or not. But that way we just kind of have a central person. That doesn't mean Marianne is there to hoard them. It just means that way we can kind of have a central person that just keeps them in their car or, in their garage at home, and can use them for everybody. Okay. Instead of sending everybody, $1,000 in shipping every time we need to send those things. Some of you that need literature need to go onto the Meeting Leader Resources page, click the button to get a request, for support, and order literature. All right. Others of you can send an email to support@networkingtodayintl.com, and we will get you taken care of. We're in the process of reaching out to some of you that we know, that we think we know need literature, and we'll find out if you still need it or not. I'm sorry for the confusion, but we're working this out, and we will get this working much, much, much smoother for everybody. But literature specifically today, I wanted to remind everybody that if you need something, if you need literature like Be Our Guest cards or the visitor host cards, all you have to do is let us know, and we'll work to get them ordered for you, all right? Now, the other thing I wanted to mention today is that the cruise has been canceled. It's funny because I never wanted to do the cruise necessarily to begin with. This is going to be disappointing to a couple of you, no doubt, on the call. But many, many members, I say many, I don't know how many, but several have said, hey, Rich, we ought to have a NTI cruise. Wouldn't it be fun to do a cruise together? Hey, why don't we all go out on a cruise? And so I say, okay, great. We'll go ahead and get that planned, right? So we threw together a cruise, okay? And unfortunately or fortunately, either way, however you want to look at it, I'm not sad about it, and I don't want anyone to see this as a negative. We just didn't get a very high response, and that is either because maybe I did a poor job of mentioning it. Maybe we did a poor job of having promotional images for you. Maybe some of you forgot. I don't know what the reason is, but I don't want anyone to look at this as any kind of negative because we only had like 3 or 4 people sign up. But in the future, if we do plan something like this, all will be welcome to participate. No big deal at all. But I wanted to let everybody know that was anticipating on going on that cruise that it's been canceled. We may, again, we may do something at a later date. But those of you promoting it, please take down your promotional slides. We're going to cancel the trip at this point. All right. Let's see here. The next thing on my agenda that I want to make sure and talk to everybody about is the Cash Mob Monday. All right. This has gone over so incredible in the Knoxville market. I am genuinely asking. I mean, I'm asking you to promote something like this. It is so much fun. It is so good for the community, and the businesses that we're going to really appreciate Networking Today. It will help you build your brand in your community. It'll help you build your name in your community, your Networking Today name, and your presence and your testimony. It does so much good. We had about 90% of the consumers in the restaurant at Mooyah last Wednesday were NTI members. And the business owner, his name's Josh, was just so overwhelmingly appreciative. And we all had a good lunch. We all networked. Some people made some new connections, some new potential relationships, and it was overwhelmingly wonderful. And I'm just trying to encourage you to do it. If you do it, if you try it, you might need a couple of months to get it off the ground like we've done. But I think in time it will take off, and you'll see the positive impact from you doing this in your community. You can invite chamber members. You can invite other networkers to this, because it's not a networking meeting, it's lunch, and it's very good. This template is out there on the Meeting Leader Resources page, again, for you to right click on and save on your own computer, and then just fill in the space. Fill in where it's going to be at, and then the green space at the bottom left, I use for the day, the date, and the time. Okay, so I'll say Wednesday, June 6th at 11 a.m. or from 11 to 1 or from whatever. You can put whatever you want in there, okay? Now you say, why did you have it on Wednesday? Well, we also combined a cash mob with a visitor day. So it was a twofer that we had in our last one. And so we moved Cash Mob Monday to Cash Mob Wednesday. We had Cash Mob Monday on Wednesday. It was a lot of fun. Is the point I wanted to try to get to everybody. So much fun, and it's really neat to be able to do, and it's a great low-pressure experience for your members to come and network with each other. All right, moving right along. Now, I'm getting ready to share a couple of very interesting things, but it ties into the new member incentive. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've not experienced it already, and you may have, as we come into the summer months, you're probably going to have a dip in attendance. It happens every year for me, for my meeting. It's not a big deal. Don't let it play with your mental, state. Don't let it affect your mental presence. But as we come into the summer, we hit slower months. There is no time like now to be promoting the new member incentive program. Make sure you're using this image. Make sure you're using the new member incentive program image to promote that they get $50 every time they bring 3 members. But not only that, guys, here's the other thing. We're going to bring back, okay, the Share the Kool-Aid contest. And this is, anyone that will remember this, it's been 2 years since we did the Share the Kool-Aid contest last. And that was when we only had a few hundred members. And now we have almost 1,000 members. So this should be one of the best Share the Kool-Aid contest periods ever. All right. Now let me explain to you how this works, and then we'll get ready to have our meeting leader moment and wrap up the call. The Share the Kool-Aid contest. Okay, so since we offer our meeting leaders compensation, and some of you are like, wait, what? I get compensation? Yeah, we compensate our meeting leaders, especially when you hit certain volumes and that sort of thing. It just continues to get better and better around here. But here's what's amazing. You take just a little bit of that money, you know, and I know many of you are not making much. If you have a small meeting, we only charge our members $25 a month. Some of you right now, I can hear you. You're like, well, why don't we charge our members $50 a month, right? And then you get paid more. No, I'm just joking. And I know you're just joking. You don't think about that. But here's what we do, okay? From July the 1st to August the 16th of this year, that gives us about either 6 or 7 weeks. I can't remember. I counted it earlier and I don't remember. But that gives us about 6 or 7 weeks to go out, go to Walmart, find the Kool-Aid Jammer packets. They're inexpensive. Okay, some of you might want to buy the powder packets. You can do that too. But what I did was I went and I bought I guess, I don't know, what are they, aluminum, whatever? I don't know what they're made out of, but these little plastic whatever pouches of the Kool-Aid pouches. I bought like 10 boxes of them, and I stapled Be Our Guest cards to the top of it. Of course, you don't want to staple it in the middle because then, of course, the Kool-Aid will leak out. You don't want to do that. But you staple it, your Be Our Guest cards at the top of it, and you ask all of your members to share the Kool-Aid with at least one person that week. And then you do this for 6 or 7 weeks. You promote, leading up to the big event where we announce the grand prize, second place, third place winners. Now, you can make this a lot of fun, or you can make this boring. You can make it silly. If you make it silly, all of our members are going to make it silly, okay? So you got to make it fun. And here's what you do. You say, guys, now, let me just share something. A couple of times, from time to time, someone will say to me, Rich, isn't drinking the Kool-Aid negative? Aren't you talking about, a real negative event that happened in history that, is really bad and you shouldn't bring that up? Well, okay, you could look at it that way. But it's very common today when referring to something where someone's bought into something with their whole life, their whole heart, that they're, quote, they've drunk the Kool-Aid, right? Well, make it fun. If you've had a big, tall gulp of the NTI Kool-Aid, and you understand what's different about networking today, and you understand the fact that we're trying to transform the way that networking is done in America and even around the world, then help make this a fun event. The person or the persons that bring the most first-time visitors will get a grand prize of $250, second place winner of $100, and a third place winner of $50. So too, the member, meaning meeting leaders, this applies for meeting leaders too, because you're members too, okay? The member that brings the most new members gets a grand prize of $250, second place prize of $100, third place prize of $50. We will announce it on August the 29th at a Networking Today happy hour here in Knoxville at the main event from 4:30 to 7:30 will be the happy hour, or from 4:30 to 7 will be the happy hour, but we will announce it at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will announce who the winners are. You have to use the NTI visitor follow-up system to enter all of your visitors. You must. There's a spot in there for the referring member. You put their name, their first name, last name, email, mobile address in there. You choose your meeting location, and you enter them in. We will then run a report, and it will show us whoever the referring member is, it will show us that. And we will go out there and we'll run a report, and we're able to see electronically who brought the most people. It is so much fun, and I hope that you will get excited about it. The new member incentive program applies. So if someone's bringing new members, they not only could win $250, but they could also win earn $50 for every 3 members that they bring over and above the contest money. And in addition to that, the 2 grand prize winners are going to get a free annual membership, meaning the $250, not the corporate membership, but the free individual annual membership for being grand prize winners, okay? Both of them. So we're giving away 2 of those as well. That's an additional $250. This is a lot of money that someone could win and somebody could earn, or that 6 people are going to win and earn. The 2 grand prize winners, of course, get the most. But this is a big deal. And I just want to encourage all of you to get behind this. Now, this image for your PowerPoint presentations and your Google Slides presentations has already been added to the Meeting Leader Resources page. If any of you are reading through this and catch me making any typos or anything wrong, I hope you will let me know and bring it to my attention right away so that we can get it updated as all of us promote this across the country. But this is going to be so much fun. I hope you help us make it fun. All right. Now, I know some of you have questions, but I want to get onto this because today we have a very, very special guest as our meeting leader moment. Derek Furlow and I don't remember exactly when we met, but I guess maybe 6 or 7, 8 years ago, Derek Furlow and I felt connected right away. Derek has taken his business to an entirely new level. He's authored a book called What's Next? Transition Like a Champion. I don't have his entire bio, but I can tell you that he played for the University of football for the University of Tennessee. He is a man's man. He's fantastic, fantastic looking. Okay, he's a very handsome man. He's a very smart man, and he's very talented. And he's coaching others on how to take their business to the next level, transitioning like a champion. Derek, are you on the line with us, my friend?
I am, Rich. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you. Derek, welcome to the Networking Today Global Meeting Leader Call. So glad to have you.
I'm definitely thankful to be here and thankful for those kind words you shared. And I did pay Rich to say all those nice things for everybody that was listening.
Yes. By the way, you sent me a check. I only accept cash. Thank you. But
gotcha.
Guys, listen, I'm gonna promote Derek's book in just a moment because I think each and every one of us should read this excellent book. But I've asked Derek to share a thought or two with us over the next 10 minutes, to take up to 10 minutes to share whatever's on his heart and mind to help us take our meetings to the next level. Derek, my friend, the floor is yours.
Appreciate that, Rich. And I'll be brief because I know we got a short period of time to work with. So the first thing I wanted to touch on was I know that we all are in transition daily, whether it's our thoughts, whether it's our actions, whether it's business related, whether it's family related. We got things that are constantly changing. We're always in transition. Either you're going through a transition, just came out of transition, or a transition is on its way. So one of the things I learned when I was playing football, when I transitioned into corporate, when I got into sales, when I got into entrepreneurship, was there were some things that my past had taught me that gave me an unfair advantage. There were some things that sports had taught me that gave me an unfair advantage. And a lot of times I left those things in the past and I left them in sports. However, after a year of struggling in sales, I sat back and thought about what made me successful in playing football. And at that moment, I had this aha. And what the aha was, is once I started to think about those things that had made me dynamic, that made me elite in sports, all I had to do was think about what tangible things could I take away from those lessons? What could I take away from it? How do those things that I was able to take away from, how do they add value to my life? Okay, well, so once I took it away, how do those things correlate right now where I'm at with what I'm doing? Or how can they correlate in the future? And once I figured out how they can correlate in the future, I just had to figure out how they carried over. Once I thought this through a couple times, it registered me that that was my transition formula. So I want to give y'all this transition formula that you can write down, that you can go apply and use it in everything you're doing, whether it's in life or in business, whether it's on a small scale or a big scale. And the formula is T plus C plus C equals ST. Now that stands for takeaway. The takeaway, whatever you've been through, whatever you struggle with, whatever you excelled at, what can you take away from it? You add that to the C, which is correlate. How does it correlate? How is it relevant right now or in the future? Once you figure out how it's relevant, the next thing is how can you carry it over? That's the next C. So you got T plus C plus C. And then once you do those three things, that equals ST. That's a successful transition. So once you're looking at anything in life or in business, you got to ask yourself, what's your transition formula? And are you applying the transition formula that's going to give you the maximum results you want day in and day out? So that was the first nugget I want to leave with you. The second one comes in the question format. And this is a question you got to ask yourself every single day. I know I ask myself this question every single day. When I wake up, I ask myself, am I calling my best play? And when you think about your best play, I use a lot of sports terms because that's the world I was raised in, I grew up in. But when you call your best play, if you look at sports, if you watch the finals last night, regardless if you're a basketball fan or not, you can play anything about any sport. But last night, for example, you seen the Warriors shoot 3-pointers. When it came out to the clutch time, they shot 3-pointers to help get ahead in that game. At the end of the day, the Warriors' best play is Steph Curry and Thompson and all those guys shooting threes. You know it's going to come. You understand it's going to come. And guess what? You can't do nothing about it because that's their best play. They call their best play regardless, and you can't stop it. So when you think about this from a personal perspective, you got to ask yourself this question: am I calling my best play? As a husband, as a father, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as an employee, as a leader, as a servant, as a spiritual being, am I calling my best play? And that's the best play that's going to get you the best outcome, the best result every single day that you call it, regardless of if the opposition or the competition know you're going to call it, or are you calling your best play to get the best outcome that you want? And the question you got to ask yourself is, if you're not calling your best play, do you know what your best play is? I remember playing sports. We had certain plays that we know if we called, we was going to get stops. If we know if we called it on offense, we were going to get touchdowns. So you got to figure out what's your best play offensively and what's your best play defensively. But if you don't know what your best play is, first things first, you got to figure out how do you discover your best play? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you. As a young child, I did a lot of moving. My mom, who was raised by a single mom, raising 3 kids in Southwest Atlanta. And from a mother's perspective, she was doing everything she could to put us in the best environment, the best situation to grow up and be the best people that we could possibly be. So when that being said, when situations or the environments we lived in were not conducive to that, she would move. So I found myself moving a lot. At the time, I didn't understand it. But as I reflect back on it, that's what we were doing. So I became really good at this making friends, because every time I would go to a new school, I knew I had to make friends really fast because the next year we was going to be moving again. Well, over the course of doing that 4 times in about 4 years, going in middle school, I became good at making friends. Well, I fast forward that to today, as you're an adult and as you're an entrepreneur and as you're in sales and you got to get leads and you got to do things like this promotion that y'all got going on, you have to be good at meeting people. Well, when you're little, they call it making friends. When you're older, they call it networking. Rich is pretty good at that. I'm not sure if he moved around as much as I did, but he started this deal, Networking Today International. So he's pretty good at networking. So when you're younger, they call it networking. When you're younger, they call it making friends. When you're older, they call it networking. That right there was one of my best plays. So I discovered one of my best plays, which was networking and meeting people at a younger age. However, I'm able to apply it today. So when you think about what pains or what things that you went through, what struggles you went through, what gives you your unfair advantage that's going to get you the results and the output that you want every single day, whether it's on an offensive producing side of it or whether it's a defensive producing side of it. I know for me, the next thing that I helped decide was my best play, whether it was offense or defense. For one, when I was younger, it was fear, the fear of not having a better life, not being in a better situation. However, the fear of not making it out of my environment forced me and kept me on track to stay precise, to stay to doing the things I needed to do, to not deviate from the goal plan, to not deviate and not to go down the wrong path. So that fear right there now correlates to focus. So now whatever I'm doing, I don't get sidetracked. I don't worry about the small things. I'm able to focus and lock in on the task at hand. So I know focus is one of my best plays. Offensively, it's my perspective, because when I was younger, and that fear again, I had this fear of things not working out. But when I look back at it, things always worked out in my favor. So now I got this perpetual positive perspective on things because I know things are going to work out in my favor. So when it comes down to it, the proper perspective allowed me to just go to work. So I know my offensive best play. I know my defensive best play. I understand a couple different blitzes that I have that I can call for best plays. But at the end of the day, you got to have your base set of best plays. What things that you go through, that you grew through to help you become who you are, that you can use and apply right now in your livelihood and in the business world, through your family, that you can know you're going to get the greatest outcome, the best results every single time. As a leader, you got to know what's your best play. As a team, you got to be calling your best play. You see it exemplified in sports every single day. However, see what you can take away from what sports is showing us and demonstrating on a regular basis, and how can you apply it to your life. And one of the biggest takeaways I learned from sports was calling my best play. And if I didn't call it, I had to figure out what was my best play. Then I had to figure out what was my offensive best play, my defensive best play, and then football was my special teams best play. So that's the basic fundamentals of the best play. So I wanted to share that nugget with you because I know each and every one of you are in different phases in life, got a lot of different things going on. But when it comes down to executing, you got to be willing to call your best play, regardless of what it is, who knows you're going to call it. If they can't stop it, call it anyway. If they can't stop it, keep calling it, because if it's your best play, it's going to be better than you calling your worst play. And at some point in time, your best player excel. You make Sports Center, you make highlights, you make plays of the days when you call your best play. You make none of those things if you call your worst play. But if you don't know the difference between your best play and your worst play, you don't stand a chance at all. So I wanted to share with you that particular nugget when it came down to it. I know I didn't have a lot of time, but if there's anything that you could think about from this point moving forward, especially if you watch any sports, just pay attention to the game, see what the best play these teams are running, and then ask yourself this: am I running my best play? Do I know my best play? What's my best offensive play? What's my best defensive play? How can I take those plays and apply it in my life, with my family, with my friends, with my team, with whatever circumstances, whatever situations that you are in? Take that frame of reference, take away something from it, find out how it correlates to you, figure out how you can carry it over. And at the end of the day, you're going to have yourself a successful transition, a successful mission, a successful task at hand, a successful ending, and you're going to get the end goal that you want. So I just wanted to share that quick little highlight with you guys. I'm thankful for the opportunity to be on. And I know that at the end of the day, y'all are in great hands with leadership under Rich and all he's doing. So I'm definitely thankful that he thought of me to share that quick nugget with you guys. And I look forward for each and every one of you getting a chance to get your hands on my book, What's Next? How to Transition Like a Champion. It's full of gems, not just because I wrote it, but I think I've been fortunate enough to be aware, one of those best plays, my awareness. And as I was aware, I learned some things. So I figured it was my moral obligation and duty to put them into a book so everybody can get their hands on it. I love to get a chance to connect with each and every one of you on any social media platforms that you're on as well. So feel free to connect with me at Derek Furlow Jr. That's on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, whatever those may be. So I thank y'all for your time, and I'm going to turn it back over to you, Rich.
Derek, thank you very much, my man. Now, in your book, do you work to convert everyone to a Vol fan?
No, but by default, it kind of happens.
Well, I'm sure that most everyone on the call today is a Vol fan already, but if you're not, Derek and I will work hard to convert you. Derek, talk about your website real quick. Give them your website, and then also any other contact information you might want to put out there. I know you've mentioned social media, Derek Furlow Jr., but also they may want to call you. They may want to email you. They may want to go to your website where they can do both or to learn more about you.
Awesome.
You don't have to give your number. You don't have to give your email. But if somebody does want to reach out to you, what is the best way and what is the website they can go check you out?
So they can reach me at DerekFurlow.com. That's DeRickFurlow. On there, it has a contact section. You can email me. You can message me from there. If you want to email me, it's just DerekFurlow@gmail.com. Or if you feel like you actually don't mind picking up the phone and making a phone call, because, you know, some people are scared of the cold call, even though it's not a cold call, you can feel free to reach out to me at 404-797-5244. Whichever way works best for you, it works for me. So at the end of the day, those are all the ways to contact me, and I look forward to hearing from you, and definitely would love to get your feedback after you get a chance to get your hands on a copy of the book.
Guys, thank you, Derek. Thank you so very much. And I know you got a busy schedule. If you have to run, I completely understand. If you want to hang out for the rest of the call, you can do that too. But guys, I just want to say a couple of things here, because Derek and I have never really talked about my past as much. I had the pleasure of reading his book, so I got to learn more about the insight in his past than he probably has of mine. But many of you have heard my story about how much I moved also as a kid. My mom and dad divorced very early. Dad wasn't in my life. Then dad came back in my life, and I lived with him and transitioned all over the place. I never connected the dots to, you know, making friends and my ability to very quickly make friends to, as an adult, applying that in my network. But man, that is very, very, very powerful. Those of you who have not moved around your whole life maybe don't have that same advantage that Derek and I have, but nonetheless, it is true. You have to become good at making friends. And when you make friends, that is increasing the circle of your network. One of the things that Derek talked about is focus and a perspective that is perpetually positive. There is a golden nugget right there. You say, Rich, what does this have to do with my meeting? What did I come on today's call just for an inspirational moment? Did I come on the meeting leader call so that I can get a pep talk or a cheerleader? No, not at all. That's not all. I hope that's not all you take away from the call. One of the things that I believe in the deepest part of my heart is that people magnetically want to come back to my meeting, and I believe it's because of my perpetually positive perspective. I believe it's because we have fun. It's because I'm a visionary. I'm the driver. I see where we could be and what we can do in our community. All of these things, from the charities to our perspective to having fun in your meetings, it transforms your meeting from just an ordinary, average, everyday networking meeting that they can get at any other networking organization on planet Earth to something unique and profoundly inspirational then to them. They then like you. They then want to come back. They then want to bring others. And the compound effect that happens, and by the way, may I say that Albert Einstein said the most powerful force on earth is the power of compounding, right? The bigger you get, the bigger you get. It is easier to grow from 5 members to 10. Once you have 10, it's easier to go from 10 to 20. Then it is easier to go from 20 to 40 and from 40 to 80. And that is how you grow. It is the power of compounding. And when people have fun, they have fun with you. They then have fun inviting others, and others come and then they have fun and they bring more in your network. Your sphere of influence grows. And this is how I believe that this book, What's Next? How to Transition Like a Champion, Sports, Life, Business, and dare I say also your networking meeting, this is how to do it. And I'm giving you these things not just as a pep talk, but as an inspiration to help you transform your networking meeting into the bigger picture of your life, and to see the bigger picture about your networking meeting being an extension of you. And I believe that that knowledge and that power is how it gets done. Guys, listen, I just believe in what Derek is saying to us, and I believe in his book. And I believe that all the books that I've been recommending over the last year, 2 years that we've been doing this very call are books that would inspire you and help you take your business, your networking, your life to the next level. I genuinely believe this. It is not just the cheerleader call, although I might add that 2 times a month that we ask you to come onto the call, it's certainly not bad to get a little inspiration, I don't think, and it's certainly not bad to be inspired to take yourself and your networking meeting and your life to the next level. So if nothing else, that you're getting on these calls, I hope it is some inspiration. I hope you walk away from these calls feeling better about yourself, about being connected to networking today, about building your networking today meeting, about being a leader at networking today, and about what you're doing in your community for others. Knowledge is power. Fill your mind, fill your heart, fill your thoughts, your internal bank account of belief system with the right things, and the right things come out on the other end. And I believe that Derek's book will help you do that. I hope you will go buy this book today. What's Next? How to Transition Like a Champion by my good friend Derek Furlow Jr. Reach out to him. I think you'll be glad that you did in all aspects of your life. All right, moving right along, guys. Our next call is June the 25th, 2019. I need you all to confirm that your information is correct on the site, in the app, on Facebook, and everywhere else, including your Be Our Guest cards and everywhere else that your meeting can be found. By the way, we are doing a beta test with Jacob Swisher's meeting area over in the Kansas area. We're doing a beta test with a LinkedIn page. We can do sub pages for LinkedIn for your areas. I would like to know if any of you want a LinkedIn page, business page, for your meeting area, like Greater Nashville, Greater St. Louis, Greater Cincinnati, Greater Cleveland, Greater Michigan. We can do these types of LinkedIn pages where then you guys can be made managers on those pages and then use that LinkedIn to invite people to and get involved with and engage with as well. So we can also use LinkedIn as a tool, not for every single individual meeting. So those of you in the greater Knoxville area will need to use the NTI page that is already set up, okay? Now, if I get enough demand, we maybe could do a Knoxville area, and that way we keep NTI corporate and the Knoxville area separate. We could do that for sure. No problem, but we're not issuing individual LinkedIn pages for every single meeting that we have like we do for Facebook, but I think it is very appropriate to have a LinkedIn page shared in a general community, right? Like the greater Knoxville area, greater Nashville, not to beat a dead horse. Let me know if you're interested. Shoot me a text or let Meeting Leader Support know that you have interest, and we will work on setting that up for you. Make sure this call is automatically populated on your calendar every 2 weeks from 12:30 to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. Or if you can't make the call live, completely get that. Make sure that you put in your calendar a time when you can commit to listening in or watching from the comfort of your home or your office and really keep up to speed with what we're doing here at Networking Today. All right. Now, that being said, I'll see y'all again in 2 weeks. I will unmute the lines for any conversation or questions or comments that you guys have. Please, before I unmute the lines though, please think about whether your comment, question, or, whatever that you would like to bring up is applicable to everyone. If it is not, would you kindly message me on the side so that we can have a separate private conversation? But that said, I'll go ahead and stop the recording. If you need to go ahead and hop off the line. See you again in 2 weeks. If you're going to stick around, I'll unmute the lines, pause the recording,